for a second. I say this all the time, DC United. This is not a soccer podcast, but we are soccer fans. So DC's going to come up every now and then. Something happened last night that I don't think I've ever seen before in sports. I've been a fan of this club for 13 years now, going 13 years. And I have never in my life known of a club that does not one, but 2 4-4 draws. The first DC United, the first draw that DC United had was against Red Bull New York up here when we played New York Red Bulls away. A 4-4 draw. It was a game for the ages, as many have said. It's like MLS is like, oh my God, made all the highlight reels, some of these goals, the back and forth. And yes, last night, DC had a 4-4 draw against CF Montreal. We at one point led 4-2. Everybody basically thought that the game was going to be, there were times in which I thought the game was going to be in the bag, and then, it wasn't. And there's so much here. It's so crazy because I remember, like, at the beginning of the year, there was a spell when DC went like 4 or 5 matches and didn't score. Then there was only a time when Ty Baribo scored. That was it. He was like the only goal scorer we had. Now everybody's scoring fucking goals. Everybody's scoring goals. You got Montano, shout to Louis the kid. He's a great kid. Baribo scored on a penalty kick. You had Jared Stroud, who, has been a bench player for the longest. He scored a goal last night. And then Captain Lucas Bartlett, he scored a goal on a set piece. He had a rough game Saturday night. He had a really rough fucking game. To be honest with you, I was going to yell at him a little bit for getting trucked basically by Prince Owusu last night, but I'm sure he heard about it enough. There's an argument, people have kind of said like, oh my God, we might be cursed. It's like DC United. I don't believe that DC are cursed. Thank you, Denis, for the love. Thank you, Denis. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. I don't think DC United are cursed. I think this is the first time that in years that we have had like a coach and a coaching staff who are serious about competition. And I mean this, we have had some coaches that have gone through the motions, that didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Okay. And we had one coach who ended up giving Chris Seitz a fucking eating disorder. A couple other players actually, on top of Chris Seitz. You end up giving guys eating disorders because you have this really, really tyrannical fitness check. That's why Ednan Lozada will probably never coach again in MLS, but that's besides the point. This is the first time the DC have actually had a coach who wants to do something, who wants to build, with this who wants to build this franchise into something great. This isn't a curse. These are growing pains, I would call them. You've already had a couple of players who are blowing out and don't want to be there anymore. Gabriel Pirani, who I've gotten on many times over the years. He's going to be gone. He hadn't, he didn't want to, he don't want to play anymore. Pirani, I've talked many times about how Pirani basically needs to put on about, 30 pounds of muscle. He don't want to play anymore. That he doesn't want to play on, with DC. He hasn't been good. And he got coddled by Troy Lesane. I blame him for that. The surprise that I had in terms of wanting out from DC is Aaron Herrera. I've known Aaron for, since he came to the club. He's a great dude. I love him. I love Aaron. We've become, something of friends over the last several years. And it's going to hurt it hurts to see him struggle like this. It hurts to see somebody when they're down, with somebody very, very talented, when they're in a doldrum and can't get over the hump, right? You get frustrated at yourself. You get frustrated at everybody else. You don't know. It's like you've got the it's like you got the yips. And I honestly, wherever you go, Aaron, I want you to know that I appreciate you. I have appreciated your effort on the pitch, and I think the world of you, brother. And wherever you land, I'm going to root for you, and I do mean that. I love you, dude. You're a great guy, and you are still good at soccer. So shut the fuck up and get out there and play. I mean that, dude. I fucking mean that. You are better at soccer than what you realize. And I want you to, and no matter where you go, I want you to take that with you. Okay? But there is an argument to be made that DC are cursed. Because over the last couple of seasons, DC United don't like winning at home. There's a valid argument for that. Like the DC United, our home record has not been great. We've been somewhat of a road warrior team. And then the question becomes, well, why is that? Why are DC United such a road warrior team and they can't win at home for shit? There could be a lot of arguments made about that, but me personally, I think that if you want my personal opinion, it's always going to boil down to the experience at home. Yes, the crowds are loud, the crowds get rowdy, okay? It's known as Rowdy Audi if you have Spirit fans. Shout out to the Washington Spirit. But I'm gonna tell you exactly what I believe would cause this club to be cursed at home. I'm gonna show you this shit. This shit right here. Drag queens at a soccer game where there are children present. Okay? This shit is ridiculous. And I believe that there's a part of people in the club who know that this shit is ridiculous. Right? Y'all know this is ridiculous. Y'all knew this was ridiculous because you turned off the comments to the Instagram, to the post on Instagram. This is fucking despicable. Drag queens in front of kids. This is disgusting. I don't, like, that is why you keep losing. Yes, I'm going to say it. You bring that shit around children. You bring that shit into a positive, family-friendly, family-fit environment, and you will reap the benefits of it. You will reap the just reward for that nonsense on the pitch. I don't think DC have won a Pride night game in years. I wonder why. And I'm not even, and I'm not even talking about, you know, like, this has nothing to do with the way the way y'all did Taxi. Although the Taxi Funtas situation is a totally other, it's a loosely related thing. Okay, because you do still owe that man an apology. You owe, like, this club does owe Taxi and his family an apology for railroading him out of the black and red when he had a chance, when he was actually our best player. You still owe him an apology for that. And I'm going to keep making noise about that situation as so long as there's breath in my body. Believe that. But this is ridiculous. All of the you know, the LGBTQIA nonsense that's in sport, period, is ridiculous. That shit is bullshit. Your players have families, some with small children. They don't want to be around that shit. You got small kids that go to games. Why should they see that? There's your curse right there. If there's a curse to be had on this team, it's that when you bring that wickedness, when you bring that foolishness into a family-friendly environment, you will not succeed. Especially when it's corporate paid for. Because I remember when Grant Thornton was the one sponsoring this shit. Grant Thornton was the one who was doing all of your ESG compliance. So I know why you did it. I know why you did it. But if I were you, if I were Jason Levian, shout to Jason, shout to Stephen Kaplan. Having met the both of you, I do consider you two to be good men. I think y'all are trying. I think this is the first time in several years that you've actually had a plan of attack when it comes to making this club better. And I do want to give you your props. Hiring Erkut Soget has been a step in the right direction. Rene Vila, Air Vila, has been a step in the right direction. That man wants to, and the guy, like, he is getting the best. Vila is getting the best out of every single player on that pitch. And I admire him for it. I've had the chance to speak to Air Vila, and I like what I'm seeing from him, and I want him to keep it up. Of course, shout to Jackson Hopkins, my good young brother. Shout to Connor Antley and everybody and all the other players on that team that are doing things. Kurokawa, Keisuke, he's like an absolute tank. Kurokawa Keisuke is incredible. That's Blue Lock right there. I'm gonna call him Blue Lock. Like, dead serious. Montano is good, is fantastic. He's getting into the mix. Ty Baribo is everything as advertised and more. I love Ty. I'm glad that he's on our club as well. We've got a lot of good, humble young men ready to play. And they want to take this club in a different direction. I'm telling you right now, get that shit. Get this shit out of the stands. Keep this shit out of the stands. You do not need this. You do not need men in drag dancing at a family event. You do not need this. You get rid of this, you get rid of the curse. But I'm just one man with one opinion. I want to see this club do great. You got 2 months with this World Cup break. We'll see what happens. We got a lot of signings to get. So we'll see what happens. But that shit's got to go. Anyways, that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. I want to thank Tim Black once again for stopping by. And we will see you next week. We've got Mr. Frank McCormick joining us at 8 p.m. Eastern next Sunday. Looking forward to having him. He's a great guy. Good friend of ours, a fellow apostate. Chalkboard Heresy will be in the building. Thank you all again. This has been Apostate Radio, episode 55. Thank y'all again for joining us.